feel really weird tonight. Like something's gonna happen.
Me too.
What's your name anyway? Xavier. Is it cool if I just call you X?
There's something evil about him.
Now 3666.
Wake up, girlie.
What are you gonna do, shoot us?
Scram!
Can't ask you to do us any big favors, huh?
Well, pardon me for rescuing your ingrained ass. The suspects appear to be heading north. I hope we die simultaneously. Like a nuclear bomb blast or something.
That's so romantic.
You're giving me an erection. Have either of you ever had sex with an animal?
Just you.
Should be considered armed and dangerous.
Scares me, Jordan.
Have you ever done that? Like, had sex with two people at the same time? Mm-hmm. You don't.
I love you, darling. You said you love me?
You know that I really only love you.
I love you!
I love you can mean a lot of things.
Welcome back to the show, everyone.
Happy 150.
Happy episode 150?
Can you believe that we've done 150
cannot.
of these?
This is insane. Well, everybody, thanks for sticking with us for all these episodes. My name's Pete.
And I'm Scott, and these are the movies that made us gay.
Absolutely.
To celebrate episode 150,
Yes.
we had a friend of mine, and I work with this guest, Rudy Bleu. Welcome to the show.
Hey. Show.
So I did not know Blue. Rudy,
Yes.
I mean, I always knew you as Rudy.
Yes.
But Blue, do you want to explain the Blue part? I thought that was interesting when you told me that.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be very interesting because it's connected to the film we're going to talk about today.
Excellent.
So back in, I guess, maybe like 96, 97, something like that, my family got AOL.
As did we all. Yeah.
You know, dial-up.
Yep.
And I would peruse all the like men for men chat rooms.
Yes. Yes.
And I was in one of them, and someone kept quoting Doom Generation. And so then
That's about right.
and I started responding with Doom Generation.
Yeah.
And then they IM'd me, like instant messenger,
Yeah.
you know, on the side or whatever. And they're like, "Who are you?" And then we started chatting, and then we became like friends. And we would talk on the phone, and we would like watch movies together.
Wow.
Like, and like IM each other while we watched the movies.
Yeah.
And then he just started calling me Rudy Bleu because that was my favorite color, but also because Amy's last name is Blue in this film.
Oh.
But I changed it to BLEU because when I started writing my zine, I thought I was being like quirky and creative.
You thought you were being clever.
Earlier on, I said Blue as in Cafe Blue.
Yeah, and then Cafe Blue. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The whole like Britpop era.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
I mean, we get a little local SoCal history in this podcast every now and then.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Talk a lot about geography.
If it's a little inside baseball for our regional listeners, sorry about that. But Cafe Blue is a really fun. How would you describe it? Britpop, British pop.
Yeah.
Club.
Yeah,
the
in West
2000s.
Hollywood, like right across the street from the Yukon Mining Company.
Yeah.
Which was where a lot of the late night
Denny's.
workers strolled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a couple doors down from Peanuts, right?
Yeah.
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 All right, I kind of know this
Yeah.
area. You've pointed out Peanuts before.
Yes. 7969.
Yeah. And the old Trader Joe's was there. in
Oh,
Santa
okay.
Monica.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Across
forgot
the street.
that.
And it was that big parking lot. Yeah.
Sure. Okay, I remember. Yeah, wasn't there was the Denny's, and then wasn't there like a Los Tacos or something?
Like Dos Burritos.
Dos-
which was,
yeah, there
which
you
was
go.
closer
Yeah.
to Arena. And yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. All
Del
right.
Taco
Yeah.
across the street. Yes,
That was
from
on
Arena.
Highland, I think.
Yeah.
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 Oh my goodness, Arena. This has been
This has been our SoCal Minute.
Town Talk. Thanks for listening, everybody.
So,
Early 2000s.
Rudy,
kidding.
you mentioned the movie that we're talking about today. I feel like we've had numerous side conversations about this movie on the podcast. Whenever we do a movie with Rose, we usually end up talking about this movie. We watched The
Yeah.
Doom Generation, written and directed by Gregg Araki, debuted at Sundance of 1995,
Wow.
and then later released October 27th of that year.
Okay.
Doom Generation, we finally got to our first Gregg Araki movie.
I'm so excited.
It only took us 150 episodes to finally get to a movie that Gregg Araki has directed.
Sure, yeah. I love this movie. I'm so excited. It's taken us forever to get to it. I distinctly remember stumbling across it on Cinemax very late at night in my bedroom in my parents' house. Probably AOL on in the background. And let me tell you this, that AOL Instant Messenger like alert noise to this day gives me like anxiety, like, oh my God.
Gives
Did
you
they
chills.
hear that? Mm-hmm. Because that's the only time.
That Pen 15 episode.
Oh my God. Down.
Yeah.
Down. Yeah. Oh man. You're taking it back a little bit. This buddy that you had that you would like talk to and like watch movies and all that, were they even local?
No, they were in San Diego.
San Diego. Okay.
Okay.
That's
And-
something. They could have been in like Massachusetts.
Yeah,
Southern California local.
Yeah.
Well, I ended up meeting him in real life, and
Wow.
now he is like a big time promoter in New York. His name's
okay.
Frankie Sharp,
Okay.
and he does the Club Westgate, or he did the Club Westgate, and they're doing
Sure.
a reunion thing. He does a lot of stuff out there, but yeah, we're still friends to this day.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think I first talked to Jeremy Lucido on like an AOL chat room.
Oh, that tracks. Yeah. That's about right.
Yeah. Oh, we'll bleep out his screen name, but yeah, I remember that. Those were the days.
Well, since this is episode 150, before we get too into talking about the Doom generation, I kind of commemorate our anniversary episodes with a little quiz. We
Sure.
did it with Millie's episode when we did our 100th.
All right.
And we're bringing back the IMDb keyword game.
Okay.
So-
keyword game. Rudy, you're along for the ride for this
Rudy,
one.
you're along
right.
for
Yeah,
the
you
ride.
can-
Just blurt out the answer. Don't feel
jump
like you
in.
have to wait.
Okay.
Just jump right in. So I pulled like 8 movies that are episodes that we've done and IMDb keywords, and let's see if you guys can
We're going to try and figure out the movie based on keywords listed in the IMDb
and
listing.
and the timeline that we're doing is anything episode 100 and above.
Okay.
Okay.
That's not going to help me at all.
Yeah.
I have no memory.
We got the first one.
Sure.
Romantic triangle,
Romantic triangle.
AIDS test, clothing store, car crash, gas card,
Oh, no.
Reality Bites.
reality bites.
I was going to say Reality Bites, but I didn't remember the car crash.
Ben Stiller ran into the two.
She
Right?
flicks the cigarette in Ben
Right,
Stiller's
right,
car.
right.
Yep.
Romantic triangle. I forgot about. Yeah. Okay. Got it. Good. All right.
right.
We got that one.
Redneck, cowboy hat, showdown,
Thelma and Louise?
Thelma and Louise.
Yeah.
Yep. Very good. Other ones were Polaroid, marriage proposal, and buddy film.
Awesome. All right.
All right. Male, female friendship, Chicago, sing along, homosexual, mud mask, and karaoke.
My best friend's wedding?
My best friend's wedding. Computer, CIA, riddle, stroller, home invasion, and
Stroller!
payphone.
Jumpin' Jack Flash.
Jumpin' Jack Flash. We need to get that audio bit of Carol Kane as like an audio poll.
I have
don't
it.
think we have
Let me
it
find it on the iPad. Keep going.
Okay. Here.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay. Male rear nudity,
Okay.
masturbation, falling down stairs, and stormy night.
Male rear nudity.
And when I give you the next one, you're probably going to get it.
Stormy night.
Stormy night.
Masturbation is in the IMDb keyword.
Masturbation.
All right.
mhm. Male rear nudity. I used to pause the scene a lot.
Yeah.
when I was young.
I
mean, I don't know.
Falling downstairs.
falling downstairs.
Bathroom.
Give me the last one.
Remake.
Remake. Oh, Psycho.
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 Psycho
All right.
98.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Food and title. Dumb jock. Female sociopath. Neo-noir. Narration. Stuffed in a car trunk.
Jawbreaker.
Jawbreaker. Little Rose tie-in.
Yeah.
All right. Reference to Sandra Bullock. Talking during a movie. News reporter. Climbing out of a car window.
Climbing out of a car window.
Reference to Sandra Bullock. Is it
There's actually a lot of references in this movie.
To Die For?
No. Sorority. No, I'm just like naming them off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, now you're just coming up with Wait, say them again?
Reference to Sandra Bullock, talking
Okay.
during a movie, news reporter, climbing out of a car window, sorority.
Talking during a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lord.
Oh,
people are going to like freak out.
Let me try to think of other
Yeah.
ones. Movie theater.
Movie theater.
I keep wanting to say like Scream or Scream 2.
I was going to say
It's Scream 2.
It's Scream
Yeah.
2.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. There's
Oh, man.
all of our IMDb keywords of all of the bangers from episode 100. There it is. Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's really bad quality. I had to like bump up the audio on that one.
Yeah, I feel like we had to get that from like a stream.
It was
online.
a like movie clips like .com like YouTube clip of Jumpin' Jack Flash. I don't know why we couldn't. Oh, because we had to watch the movie on like Tubi or something.
But yeah,
Whack.
150 episodes.
All right,
And
yeah, congratulations
Speaking of
to
which,
the two of us. I can't believe it.
kind of sometimes we're messaged and emailed. People that are trying to promote podcasts are startups, and we were messaged of somebody trying to sell us an ebook of starting a podcast. And I wanted to be like, bitch, you do realize it says on our Instagram that you messaged us that we are at episode 148.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a little too late. And I noticed that you have 13 followers. Do you need any help yourself?
Well, it's just spam. Whatever. It's just spam bots. They're just out there trying to make some money. But maybe we can get some help in like what to do for our first episode and how to come up with a theme for our podcast.
Help us out with recording equipment.
Yeah, what equipment to buy? Oh,
All right.
Lordy.
Back to Doom Generation.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Pete, you briefly talked about watching this movie on late night cable, Cinemax.
It was specifically Cinemax. I remember.
This strikes me as programming that would be on Cinemax at like 1 a.m.
Yeah, a little bit more spicy than HBO. And I think Cinemax was also like you can get it cheaper than HBO. It was like the sad like little sister channel.
And Cinemax does show the softcore porn.
Well, they have the Cinemax
I remember when we
movies,
briefly
yeah.
had it in
Yeah.
a cable
Yeah.
package.
Yes. It was on late at night. I watched probably the last half or whatever and was just like, what the hell is this? Figured out when it was going to be on next. Had a VCR also in my room, so I recorded it and then just watched it a million times over and over again. That was my first introduction to Rose McGowan, my first introduction to James Duval, probably Jonathan Schaech. Don't really, and then just seeing like all of, Peter Brady and Julie from the Love Boat.
I have a list of
and,
the crazy cameos in this
Parker
movie.
Margaret
Margaret Cho, Marcy Darcy, Amanda Bearse from Married with Children, all these people, and just the crazy aesthetic of like the hotel rooms being so stylized and everything about it, and all the music and Skinny Puppy being in the movie, and
Right.
talking about the Smiths and like talking about going to a Thrill Kill Call concert. And I smoked for a lot of years, and I always had my pack of cigarettes in the sun visor above, in the driver's seat.
Is that where that comes from?
Yes.
Is that why you do that?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yes, I always just put my pack of cigarettes right there.
It just seems like such a smoker dad move.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I saw it first. My parents didn't smoke, and that's where I first saw it was here, just having her. She did always buy soft packs.
Right.
In this movie. I was never a soft pack kind of a guy. I just felt like they would break in my pocket. So I always got a hard pack, but I just took so much from this movie, and also it just spoke to the kind of like kooky kind of like friends and weird shit that I was into anyway. The bracelets that X or Xavier wears, the bondage bracelets with the three
Right.
rings. I had that before this movie. We wore those.
Yeah.
Me, my best friend Ray, we went to. I always talk about this. Went to Retail Slut
Yep.
on Melrose. There was no Hot Topic.
Nope.
So you had to go. I mean, well, maybe
It was starting out.
starting up. Yeah. But even then, they didn't have stuff like
No.
bondage bracelets.
Yeah.
And me, 17 years old, 130 pounds, shaved head, walking in
Can
like,
I take a look at your
I
bracelets?
want that one.
Yeah.
And just like the employees just like literally blocking the door, smoking.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to just go inside and I want to buy something. You know, so this movie just was like, holy shit, where did this movie come from? It came from inside my brain, and I've been in love with it ever since. And then Nowhere came out, and just like, oh my god, the other side of my brain blew up. So, yeah.
Rudy, what about you?
For me, I saw an ad for it in the weekly, and I was a religious Alley Weekly reader.
Yes.
Like every Thursday.
Yeah.
I had to get it. Sometimes I'd get it before school, and then like 'cause I needed to know what bands were coming, what was happening that week, what movies were coming out.
This is a stupid question, but do they still print LA Weekly?
No.
Okay,
No.
I would think that would be long gone.
Yeah, and Alley Weekly really was like the cool guide to what was happening in the city and the articles. And so I read the review of the movie, and then they were doing a party at Stigmata that was doing giveaways for Doom Generation.
Yeah.
And so we went, whatever, because we would go to Stigmata, and then I got this button that I'm wearing today that I pulled out of the. It was like a promo
archive.
item. Yes, exactly. And and then I went to go see it at the Sunset 5.
Yeah,
which is where I would always go see all the like indie films.
Yeah.
And from the beginning, like it's 9 Inch Nails as soon as it starts.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
And then just like everything about it, like to reiterate what you're saying, like the clothing they were wearing, like Rose McGowan looked like all the girls I hung out with.
All of it, yeah.
You know, like and she was a little more crass than the girls I hung out with, you know? But like just everything about it, and like the sexual tension between Xavier and why am I blanking on James Jordan.
Yeah.
Like I remember being like, what is going on? Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh
yeah.
You know, and like and the funny thing is though that I didn't realize that I had seen Totally Fucked Up.
Oh, okay.
Prior to this.
Sure.
Because I would rent everything at Blockbuster Video that was in the gay section.
Yes. Yeah.
And so when I went back to find out more information, I was like, oh, I already watched that other movie. And I knew that James Duval was in it, but I didn't realize they were both Gregg Araki.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the same with Nowhere. When Nowhere came out, I mean, that scene really quickly in Nowhere where they're driving, she has the Bikini Kill sticker, and they're listening to Stacey Q. I'm like, what?
What the hell?
That's like me and my friends.
Yeah. Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
Diet Coke extra large.
Diet Coke extra large.
I would say that all the time. I just like loved the way she said
Diet Coke extra large. Yeah. Oh my Lord. The LA Weekly, come on. It was like we didn't have, I mean, you know, no internet, whatever. And it's like, you're right. It gave you the entire calendar for all of LA for the entire weekend.
Yeah.
Every club, every band that was going to be here.
Right.
And it also gave you your coupons for discounted admission into places like Stigmata
and Velvet.
And Velvet and all that.
Yeah, I went right for like studs.
Studs. Well,
okay, never mind.
And then they had all the like 800 numbers in
in the back. Yeah. For your massage.
Yeah.
A little bit about my background with Gregg Araki and Doom Generation. So I remember reading about movies like Nowhere and the Doom Generation in Teen Movie Line magazine. When I was a youngin' growing up in a small town. But these were movies that I could never find.
Right.
Our local video store did not have Nowhere or the Doom Generation, and my college towns did not have these movies. They may have them in some video stores, but not the ones that I went to.
Yeah.
So I did not see the Doom Generation or Nowhere until I started going out with you.
Yeah.
Like, it took me that long to get a hold of copies of these movies.
And I corrupted you with these.
But it was always one of those things that I always knew of them from just reading about Rose McGowan.
Yeah.
And I also had a huge crush on, I think that his name is Nathan Bixton. In Nowhere.
Bexton
in Nowhere.
Yeah, he plays Montgomery.
I remember reading about seeing Nowhere on his Yahoo Movies filmography and being very interested in it and just trying to get a hold of these movies that I could not find. And that's what's kind of interesting about the legacy of Gregg Araki is that a lot of these movies from the 90s are very hard to find.
Yeah.
Like, you have to track down a physical copy of them, which is kind of cool. Like, that you.
It makes it a little bit more. You got to work for it.
You got to work for it, which I kind of like.
Yeah.
And is that just because of the music?
I think so. I think a lot of it has to do with the music. I mean, I know that he has a good relationship with. I mean, I feel like I read something where he has a good relationship with Harold Budd from the Cocteau Twins because they do a lot of scoring along with their original tracks or whatever. But yeah, I think that's probably. I mean, both Doom Generation and Nowhere have a lot of songs by artists on major labels. Yeah. And I don't think it's the same reason a lot of shows take forever to get on streaming services. Either they change the music or they hold out, and I feel like the music is a very integral part to these movies.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, the scene in really quickly going to Nowhere where the girls walk into like Suede playing as they're walking into the party, like
trash.
Yes,
I love that song.
And it's freaking My Two Dads.
Yes, and her and what's her name from My So-Called Life. Yes. And so again, with Doom Generation, also seeing like Parker Posey and Perry Farrell, Margaret Cho, like it's
Heidi
just like
Fleiss.
Heidi Fleiss.
Heidi Fleiss. Yeah,
you just get a new like random like musician celebrity, and that was so exciting. And I mean, I spent so many times watching Doom Generation in my bedroom, introducing it to people.
Yeah,
as soon as it came out on VHS, it was just like I've got it, and I was just like constantly being like, "You haven't watched this movie? You have to watch this movie." Yeah. And I just think that like for people who grew up in Los Angeles and in other towns, but Los Angeles because they made it known that it was Los Angeles.
Yeah,
but like to see sort of a reflection of yourself on screen, and it be like not this like coming out story or this like it was just like a slice of life type of thing with the kooky, crazy road trip murder.
I was trying to kind of juxtapose it with another movie about young people that came out in '95, and I immediately went to Clueless. Just like what's like the anti-Doom Generation of something so opposite from the tone
bizarro,
bizarre quality that this movie has, and I mean it's Clueless. That's just sort of like what else was going on in pop culture in 1995.
Yeah. Well, going back a little bit to kind of the distribution of this, what is this Trimark?
I mean, I would imagine that
when it's like these small distribution companies, these smaller movies from the 90s, it didn't make a lot. Whoever is at Trimark right now,
I would imagine that probably
a
studio like Lionsgate probably absorbed a lot of Trimark's back catalogs, and I would imagine that there's no hurry
so they're just
at Lionsgate to issue out like an Arrow video of this.
Well, I read today, I was looking up some information on it, and I read that basically they made like nothing off this movie.
Probably. The very first thing, I think Nine Inch Nails is already playing.
Yeah.
And it says a heterosexual movie by Gregg Araki.
Right.
Love it.
Now, I had not seen Totally Fucked Up or
Living End
yet. I did ultimately rent them at Blockbuster. And I definitely prefer Doom Generation and Nowhere a lot more.
Right.
I see their value, but I didn't really know of their existence at the time. So I'm watching this going, a heterosexual movie, that's very interesting because of how queer it is.
Right.
But just understanding now that it's like a queer director and his last two movies were very like gay centric.
Yeah.
So this is the most heterosexual we're going to get.
Right.
But yeah, just all that shit in there with X and Jordan and just James Duval. Come on.
I when I watched this today this morning, I hadn't watched it in probably like 10 years.
Yeah,
and I was like taken back. To watching this, at like 17 years old.
Yeah,
being like, oh my God. I remember like the shot of his testicles.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and like being
Yeah.
like so scandalized.
Yeah.
And then I remember thinking Rose McGowan had like the perfect boobs.
They
you know?
look like you're watching like a hentai anime.
Right.
They're so like white and
Yeah.
pink and perfect. I'm just like, this looks like somebody drew this
And
character.
her white skin,
Yeah.
with that black hair.
Insane.
Yeah. And then, you know, the scene of X masturbating and then licking the
Yeah.
Can I say cum?
Yeah, you can
Of
say whatever you
course.
want.
licking the
More
cum,
explicit.
licking the cum off his hands, and it was just like what? And so then, you know, I watched an R-rated version and was like, oh, they totally took that out.
Yeah.
You know, and
That's interesting.
And then I realized, so I did some research, and there's like a lot of dialogue that's taken out. So if you haven't watched this film, I suggest watching the unrated
They
version.
probably take out some of the good Rose zingers too. 'Cause
Yes, they
some
take-
of the shit that comes out of her mouth in this movie. Like I was LOLing on the couch.
You fucking chunky pumpkin head.
They take out a lot of her dialogue and X's dialogue of
Oh,
them
yeah,
going back and
yeah.
forth with each other.
Sure.
And a lot of the sex stuff, like the Jesus penis tattoo
yeah,
and
yeah.
I wonder if you get a shot of James Duvall's nuts.
very quick.
You get
Okay,
like a
that cutaway.
Yeah.
yeah, you get a good shot of his balls getting in that bath.
Yeah.
This movie is 87 minutes long, the unrated version.
Right.
So the edited,
It's 11
R
minutes
version.
shorter.
Oh my God! So
My
it's like
God.
67 minutes.
that is a short film by
Wow.
Gregg Araki. That's insane.
Yeah.
But I love that. I love that this movie is so filthy, though. That to get an
Yeah.
R rating.
Oh, yeah.
11 full minutes. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Because normally you hear like a frame here, a frame there, a word. 11.
It was like stinky clam had to be taken out. The part where she puts her fingers up his ass.
Yeah.
And then when she's talking to Jordan about putting fingers in his ass, that's all taken out.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you gotta have the finger in the ass scene. It's my
Yeah.
favorite part of the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, just in general, X and Jordan's conversations are so funny because they
Yes.
are
They
just
are
about
so
to make out.
Close to each other.
It's like I remember sitting in that theater being like, "Oh my god, oh my god,
They're
oh
gonna
my
kiss,
god."
they're gonna
Yeah,
kiss, they're
yeah.
gonna kiss.
And there's something so effective about that I love.
But
Yeah.
when Amy comes out of the shower and it cuts to a wide of them and X is like leaning over, like leaning into him, and
Yeah.
she's like, "What are you two homos talking
What are you two homos talking about?
two homos gabbing about this time?" We both laughed, like literally, like laughed
Yeah,
out loud.
yeah.
We were like, "Oh my God!" Like the script is great, and I feel like Rose McGowan just has this delivery with
I mean,
all of these lines.
I
that
became
kill it.
so obsessed with Rose McGowan after this
Yeah.
film. I had to watch everything she was doing.
Yeah.
I had to clip everything out of every magazine that she was in. My walls had all these pictures of her.
love it.
I was just like, I have photos of my bedroom from back in the day, and you'll see all these pictures of her in
Yeah.
there. Like, I remember watching this horrible film where she like lived with an abusive grandma.
What is this movie?
I can't remember what it's called. I think they had two different titles because I remember like
Oh, man.
renting it and then I remember seeing it. But yeah, and I remember reading about how her family was in a cult and she ran away.
They were
Oh
in the
my
cult
God.
that
The River Phoenix
River
cult?
Phoenix
Yeah.
and his family
Oh,
were in.
wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
I was like
Crazy.
all up in it because
I talk about, this being my, I feel like on, maybe in one of our commentaries, this being my first introduction to Rose and just latching onto her and this character
Yeah.
and just this style that when I ultimately did see her in Scream, I was like, yay, she's in this big movie that
Yeah.
everybody's going to see her and she's great in it. But I was like, oh, but she's blonde. And
Yes.
oh, but they're dressing her like this weird, like Britney Spears, like
Yeah.
knockoff. I was like, that's not her. She's way cooler than
right.
this character. I mean, now, 25 years later, I'm like, fucking Tatum rocks. Like, Tatum's
Yeah.
the best.
I
Love
was
her.
so excited when I saw her in Scream.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what I love about Gregg Araki too is that, and I mean, going back to probably the reason why these things are not available on
Yeah.
streaming services, is his music choices in the
Yeah.
film. Like even stuff that's playing so low, like there's a scene where they're in the car, where they're going to have sex for the first time. where she claims that they're both virgins.
Yeah. He's afraid to get AIDS.
But they're both virgins.
We're both virgins.
But like Allison by Slow Dive is playing, and I remember being like, oh my God. And it's like all these little connections. And today when I was watching it, I realized that the Jesus and Mary Chain song with Hope Sandoval from Mazzy Star is playing really low. And I thought it was an interesting choice because that song was used heavily to promote the film Love in a 45.
Okay.
Is that with Renee?
Is Renee in there?
Renee Zellweger?
I can't remember who. The only person that I remember who's in it is the guy from Dazed and Confused with the one that says "Check you later." I used to have a big crush on him. I can't remember. It is
Renee Zellweger, and that's a very Texas movie, so that checks out. Oh, it's Rory.
It's
Rory Cochrane.
yes.
Rory Cochrane. Yeah,
from.
I used to think he was so hot in the 90s.
Oh yeah, I mean he was at his best probably in Empire Records.
Oh yeah, Empire.
But he had like the long hair in
Dazed and Confused.
Dazed and Confused.
Yeah.
And then another guy from Dazed and Confused is in Doom Generation. Isn't he in Dazed and Confused? He works at the Dino Burger, and he's the first one that confuses her for his lost love. I forgot what he calls her.
I like that recurring...
Kitten is Parker Posey, right?
Yeah, Kitten.
I love the recurring thing with the Amy character is that everyone sort of recognizes her. And I like that it's ambiguous of, is it actually Amy? Or is there just someone around that looks like her?
Yeah.
I guess it works either way.
Sure.
Also, can we talk about really quickly that scene... That like weird FBI, like what? To this day, I still don't.
Like all the agents are like mirroring each other, and like they're.
I don't get it. I feel like it's so misplaced and weird.
Yeah,
like I think that the news report with Peter Brady and what's her name?
Julie from the Love Boat.
Julie from the Love Boat.
Yeah,
yep.
Like that. It's enough of us knowing that there's some recognition.
Right.
But I think that in a lot of these Gregg Araki movies, and you definitely see it in movies like Nowhere and also Kaboom, is this greater sort of CIA, just the weird shit going on outside of the characters,
stuff.
this weird Big Brother stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, stuff with like aliens, the world coming to an end.
Yeah.
And you definitely see it in scenes like that.
Yeah.
Totally.
Go ahead.
No, I just remembered that, not the 7-Eleven scene, but the first scene with Margaret Cho and the family, when they do the news report, they say disemboweling.
Yeah.
Right? And they repeat it.
Disemboweling.
Yeah, and the rated R version, they only do it once.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
So it was really interesting to like as me from like watching it so many times.
Yeah,
and then watching the R version, being like, wait, they didn't say this, or like, wait, they took off the blood splatter on the kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. I like how not subtle this movie is with like all the signage of like the world coming to an end.
Right.
We shoot.
The end is near.
Yeah.
The apocalypse.
The apocalypse stuff. But in the first Quickie Mart, it said like we shoot shoplifters or something. And there's like a huge gun. And she's like standing right in front of it. But yeah, there's just this theme throughout the movie of just like all these apocalyptic messages following
and the
everywhere.
death cigarettes.
I mean, in the UK, there's like a big skull and crossbones on a pack of cigarettes, like on the whole like side of the box, like.
But definitely weird shit that comes up in all of his movies.
Yes. There's that reoccurring theme, and I feel like maybe in Totally Fucked Up they did it like because it breaks it down and the text comes on screen, and then in like Nowhere, Doom Generation Nowhere, it's kind of appears like in the store or at the bus stop or at the But yeah, I remember Perry Farrell, 7-Eleven worker, seeing Perry Farrell in that movie.
Yeah.
I was like, what is going on? like I was excited. Also had a weird crush with him, even though he was like, looked like he was on heroin.
Yeah.
But that's just sort of the appeal. That's a part of the appeal of Perry Farrell.
I saw him at Disneyland once.
Oh.
Probably around this time.
Interesting.
Was it on a ride or was it just out and about?
It was out and about. It was in front of Pirates of the Caribbean. He was talking to a pirate. and like a cast member in the
in
the Pirates of the Caribbean uniform, and he was with a very beautiful woman that like kind of looked like a model, and she had like short like hair, and they had a little kid with them, like a little boy. And yeah, they're about to get on Pirates.
I always remember reading a Spin article with him around that time where he talked about how he tried experimenting with men and that he didn't like how the guy sucked his dick, that it felt like he was eating corn on the cob. And I've always remembered that.
That's funny.
Oh, that is so weird. And then like Jane's Addiction, they always had, I mean, they had like Dave Navarro got into that era of just being like, oh, and I wear makeup. And like,
the Carmen Electra years.
Yep. Yeah. It's so interesting how like sexual ambiguity in like the late 90s for like musicians was like, we'll look a certain way and we'll maybe talk about maybe being bisexual. But then when it really comes down to it, they're like, but I haven't actually ever done anything.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I was going to bring up Anthony Kiedis, but whatever. Heidi Fleiss.
Oh man,
Pete had to tell me about that one. I mean, of course, I know who Heidi Fleiss is, but I think that maybe recognizing her, I might be a little slow on that.
So okay, in her scene, she's another like
she's the liquor store clerk.
She's another liquor store clerk. It's seconds, of her just saying 666, and she's delivering it in this very like bored kind of like 666 delivery, and it just, I don't know, at the time I just always thought it looks like they probably had to pull some fucking teeth. She just did not look I don't know, it just looked to me like she wasn't doing a great job.
I mean, maybe, I don't know. Maybe that was just her. No. That we know.
Yeah. Do you want to explain to listeners who might not be familiar with Heidi Fleiss?
The Hollywood Madam.
The Hollywood Madam.
Yeah, in the 90s, there was a scandal with a bunch of celebrities, male celebrities, that got kind of entangled with seeing call girls. Sex workers, and this woman Heidi Fleiss was kind of like she was the Hollywood Madam. She was the one that would
arrange the dates.
Arrange it. What does Miss Scarlett say in Clue? She she puts people, she connects people together.
She had an infamous black book.
The Black Book.
Yeah.
That's right. And like Charlie Sheen and like all these.
Charlie Sheen's always the one that comes.
Charlie Sheen's always on those lists.
Always the one. Yeah.
And then she had a store on Hollywood Boulevard for a minute.
Okay.
Remember
what was it, like Home Goods? What is
I don't remember. I think she just sold
lingerie?
Like, I want to say like Heidi wear, but I don't know. But it was like down the street from World of Wonder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember that.
So not near Bobby Trendy.
Oh my God, Bobby Trendy. So Bobby Trendy made me think of Santa Monica Boulevard, which made me think of Gregg Araki. I remember reading an article with James Duval and him talking about how he would hang out at this like ice cream place on Melrose.
Okay.
So like me and my friends, whenever we
where is he talking about?
I don't remember the name of it. He named it in the And so every time we went down Melrose, I would always like slow down in hopes that he was there hanging out. Like when I actually did meet Gregg Araki, it happened maybe like 10 years ago or so. I was with my friends and we were driving down. We were going to go to we were driving down La Brea and Santa Monica and La Brea. And we're driving down La Brea heading, we're crossing coming from Sunset or whatever. And I saw Gregg Araki in the Starbucks on Santa Monica and La Brea.
Oh my God.
And I told my friend, pull over. I was like, pull the fuck over. And she's like, what? And I just jumped out of the car. And then I went in and he was sitting there and I was like, oh my God. What am I going to do? Oh my God. So like I bought something and then as I was walking out, he looked at me and then he smiled and I smiled and then I just stopped and I was like, hi, I don't want to bug you, but and so then I talked to him and then I took a photo and was just like so excited and it was like the best thing ever for me at that point because it's like awesome. I finally happened. For years I was like, I am gonna run into Gregg Araki one of these days in LA.
Yeah, in LA, come on. This is kind of like,
he strikes me as somebody that lives on the east side.
I have no idea where he lives. I remember I saw him at the Lush reunion. and that was really fun.
You're taking Pete back here.
Wow, I remember that. So yeah, this movie, like you said, it's indicated that it's in LA, but they went to great pains to kind of
how they
hide.
shot. I mean, I don't think that
LA.
you get a medium shot or an establishing shot until like 15 minutes of this movie.
The first
they're all close-ups.
15 minutes is all extreme close-ups on their faces. But like, I think one thing they drive by a miniature golf place at one point.
Yeah.
Where you see the castle, and I'm like,
There are those.
that's probably the one off 170. Like,
You think that those oil refineries are?
I don't know. I thought
mean,
maybe
they
like
make
Long
it look
Beach or
very
Redondo,
like
but-
post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime they're driving, there's never other cars on the road.
No,
They drive by the Mega Maid titties on the way to San Diego.
I was like,
I always
what?
think of that. Mhm.
Yes.
When you're driving to San Diego and
Right,
you see
right,
those
right.
big
Nuclear.
those big. I don't even know what
I
they
was
are.
trying to figure out, like, today when I saw the end credits and they drive off.
Yeah.
Like, where are they?
is
There's like
that?
a reservoir, but
Yeah.
there's a road. I was like, I do not know. And I read that they had to shoot mostly at night and in like very undisclosed locations to save money.
Sure. I was thinking possibly that weird little reservoir at the end. I mean, it could be like Santa Fe Dam, like over off like where the 605 runs into the mountains. You know, there's that weird stuff off the side of the freeway. It looks kind of post-apocalyptic out there. There's also a weird like dam out off the 5, like going to Ventura or like Valencia. There's another area out there. Who knows?
There's that other one where they had Lollapalooza.
Oh my God! Yeah,
I can't remember what it's
What
called.
was that?
Yeah, I was trying to see.
That was Santa Fe
I was
Dam
trying to
over
see
there.
shooting locations today, and kind of they avoided well-known landmarks in LA and undeveloped urban sprawl areas. So it was just sort of weird sections of the valley.
Yeah.
This did shoot early '94, so the Northridge earthquake happened as they were filming.
Oh, interesting.
Happened on my birthday.
The bar scene with Parker Posey and Pizzicato 5 playing.
The tinfoil bar?
The tinfoil bar, yes.
I love that.
Like, love it. That's the thing that I love, too, about Gregg Araki films. Like, all the, like, bedrooms.
Yeah.
Like
in nowhere.
Yeah, and even in Totally Fucked Up, like, you're, like, looking at the posters that they have in their rooms, and they're always, like... and then, like you mentioned earlier, the hotel rooms, like the checker floor, you know, like the
ones
colors,
all red.
Yeah, I love the set design.
Yeah, the production designer for Doom Generation went on to do Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That checks out.
Yeah.
I
Not
also
the same one from nowhere though. Different production
I
designer.
also found out today that Gregg Araki did a episode of Riverdale.
He's done numerous television
That's
shows.
interesting.
He's done Riverdale,
like
13
that.
Reasons Why. I think he directed a majority of the 13 Reasons Why episodes from
interesting.
season 1.
Huh.
Yeah. What else has he done? Yeah, I mean, those are kind of the two big ones. But yeah, he works a lot in TV, which is interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting too, because I read something quickly where they were saying that you could definitely tell it's him in the Riverdale episode.
Oh, okay.
So now I'm like, I need to go back and watch
Yeah.
that.
Probably the gay one.
I need to go back and watch that and see. But yeah. So Xavier,
Oh my God,
Jonathan
Schaech. We got to talk about this one.
he's from Models Inc., right? I'm getting that.
He
correct?
was on Models Inc.
Yeah. I don't know what else he was in, but
I mean,
Jonathan
married
Schaech
to
has
Christina Applegate
worked the
for
rounds
a while.
Oh.
Not
Married-
anymore, but they were married for a
Married to
good...
Christina Applegate. I mean, his
Christina
big...
Applegate was in Nowhere.
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
yeah.
His big sort of breakout
Everybody was in
movie
Nowhere.
was That Thing You Do in
Oh,
96.
yes.
Which he got like right after this.
Yeah. And I mean, and then this film though, like all those close-ups of like the belt buckle
Yeah.
scene,
Mm-hmm.
and you see like his pubes or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
and then the scene where he's unbuttoning himself and playing with his nipples.
Yeah.
It's just like, what is going on? That was Skinamax for queer kids. You know, like
absolutely. He gets on when they're asleep in the bed, and then he gets in the bed, and then he gets on his knees, and he just lowers his pants down
yeah.
right,
And he's
you see his
jerking off.
butt crack.
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah, and it's like his body slamming
yeah.
at the time. His face, get out of here.
That
Those
hair.
eyebrows.
The hair, the eyebrows, his lips, his wardrobe.
Yeah.
Nuts. Love it. You know,
Yeah.
he's covered in blood half the movie.
Right.
But when they finally go to the thrift store, which is all yellow,
Yes.
the clerk in the thrift store is wearing a yellow dress. There's just yellow clothes everywhere, and he gets like this cowboy hat and bell bottoms,
And she gets that plastic,
clear plastic
plastic coat, iconic.
that pink dress.
I mean,
little
these are
number.
like their road disguises.
yeah. And those white sunglasses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her looks iconic.
Yeah. Her. Oh, yes.
Just all their rings and then at one point, Jordan ends up wearing one of X's bondage bracelets, which I thought was cute.
Yes,
I was like,
yes.
oh, look, he's wearing one now. He wasn't wearing one the whole time. Like X had two. He had one on each wrist.
So you mentioned bondage bracelets and retail slut. And,
Yeah.
And like I used to go to retail slut a lot just because I wanted to be there.
Yeah.
And like, you know, and I still have my Susie shirt that I bought there in high school, which is now like super faded and thin.
Yeah.
But I never was like a bondage bracelet person, but I would buy the Madonna bracelets.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and all those. But
The
the
black
first
rubber
time I
ones,
bought a bondage bracelet, I bought it at Drake's on
Okay.
Melrose. And I guess I was asking for a cock ring, and I didn't know.
Sure.
I mean, you can
Yeah.
also take one of those too.
Yeah.
Right, but I didn't
Because
know.
we also wore cock rings.
I had no
bracelets.
idea. I was like
Yeah.
that naive,
Yeah.
you know. And the guy was like asking me if it was for me or for someone else, and the size. And I was just like, huh?
I just wanted to
Yeah,
fit.
yeah. It was like this blue, like so, you know, like
Did you need me to go help you try it on?
Melrose in that time.
We're going to Melrose.
I think that's a.
Do I have a
that's a
drop of
clip.
that? I think I might have gotten rid of it though. Oh, we'll find it.
And like, yeah, and the contrast of like, and Totally Fucked Up. There's so much spaces that you can recognize.
Yes, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like Santa Monica Boulevard
Tower
and Melrose.
Records,
Yeah,
yeah.
and so I thought it was really interesting that in Doom Generation, it's like the total reverse
Yeah,
of that.
Renata
It's like
Bazarian
I don't
had it.
even know where they're at, and like they were saying they were like in like urban areas of LA or something, and I was like, are they filming like in Lincoln Heights by the train tracks?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
like
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then, yeah, you do know that it is L.A. because, like, he says that his parents live in Encino.
Yeah.
She talks about being in traffic on the 405. I remember my friend Damien laughed out loud when she said that when he first watched it.
There's a
I'm like, shut up! This movie's fun.
There's
great.
some kind of fun credits in this movie. One of them being a heterosexual movie by Gregg Araki and photographed on location in hell.
in hell.
Yep.
on the credits I saw a no thank you,
Yeah, we saw the no thank you.
which I was like, wow.
Oh, it's what
Someone-
is that?
someone-
A big no thank you to Cheryl Ladd. A big no thanks to Cheryl Ladd, and apparently the story behind that is that Jordan Ladd, her daughter, was originally cast as Amy, but her mother Cheryl Ladd vetoed the role at the last minute because of the sex and nudity. I don't know if Jordan would have been underage at the time. It was probably very close.
Jordan Ladd. I don't even know what they look like at the time.
She was in Nowhere. She ended up being in. He ended up casting her in Nowhere. She was the one with the little pixie haircut, and she had her twin brother. Was Scott Conn.
yes.
And she's dating, and she's fucking Elvis
right.
Yeah.
On the motorcycle.
on the
Jordan
motorcycle,
Ladd is
yeah.
also in Never Been Kissed. She's one of the
Oh,
she's one of
yes,
the popular
yes,
girls
yes.
with
Yeah.
Jessica Alba and Marley Shelton.
And-
That cute boy from Detroit Rock City is in
Yeah.
Never Been Kissed.
Her mother Cheryl Ladd was
Cheryl Ladd
one of
was-
Charlie's Angels.
She was in Charlie's Angels.
Yeah,
Obviously not the first season, and
No.
also you might remember her from The Mother in Poison Ivy.
she's the
Poison Ivy, yes. I loved seeing that old Doritos bag.
Yeah, the clear. Yeah,
It totally took me back. And in my head, I was like, they still made those in the
yeah.
late 90s?
We lose time dilation.
I thought
I'm
that
like,
was like 80s Doritos.
yeah. Guess not. 94. They were still making the clear Dorito bag.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
So, like Nowhere, this movie takes a turn
Yes.
Yeah.
and has some heavy ass scenes in it.
Right.
I feel like Nowhere, the scenes are kind of in the middle.
Yes.
Whereas this one, it's the final scene. And the ending is hella dark.
I had kind of completely forgotten about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't
until
wanna,
a revisit of it. I feel like I just blocked it out of my memory.
You block it out of your memory. Because the whole time as we're watching this movie, there are these crazy intense conversations between James Duval and Jonathan Schaech, X and Jordan. Mm-hmm. And X is this like hypersexual guy. He's like maybe murdered multiple people. We know the convenience store guy, his head got blown off.
Right.
We see that. But the other guy, he just shot his arm off. He
Right.
could have survived, you know. But at any rate, you know, X is a pretty dangerous dude. They're having these intense conversations where it looks like they're about to make out. And the whole time, Jordan, James Duval, has this same happy-go-lucky...
Mm-hmm. He's just like a little puppy dog.
I was just
Scott
going to say,
Lesnar
yeah. He's like a happy little dog.
Yeah.
You know, like a little lap dog.
Yeah, and he just loves Amy, and he just wants to hang around with her and be with her, and he's just kind of along for the ride. And he's the one, spoiler alert, that doesn't make it at the end of this movie.
Right.
And it's sad.
It is. It is.
Ah.
I totally forgot that he died in this film.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, like, the intensity of the end of it, but and also like those weird like redneck guys, like all the like, well, first of all, they're like, you know, being super homophobic, and then they're like, oh, you're gonna get yours after. You know, then they're like, and you're like, what?
Yeah, it's weird what's going on there. It's like, are they gonna like fuck them too? Like, I don't
like, yeah, like what the hell is going on?
Yeah. But I mean, I guess Amy, you know, takes the garden shears to them all at the end, so they get theirs. But yeah, it's like there's some scenes in Nowhere that are pretty harsh. You know, there's like a sexual assault in it that I'm always like, ooh.
Right.
I feel like I used to fast forward through that scene because it's pretty rough.
Mysterious Skin is about
the whole
child
movie,
abuse, like the entire movie. Do you know that was the first Gregg Araki movie that I saw?
Oh my God.
Okay.
So I mean, because I feel like I was in college at the time. I knew who Gregg Araki was, and finally, here's like the big one that I can rent.
Yeah.
And it's just like this movie has JGL in it, Michelle Trachtenberg. Like I'm into it, and then I rented. I was like, oh shit, this movie
is a lot.
This movie is a lot.
Yeah.
But that was also based on a book, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really heavy.
Yeah, so it's like these movies are so much fun, and they have all of these like, you know, references and things that we just latch onto. But there's always that one little thing where I'm just like, okay, maybe I'll just stop the movie at this point.
Yeah. I always, same.
Yeah,
Like
just because you know the whole thing in this movie in particular is, you know, X is really his main goal at this point is to fuck them both, right?
Right.
He just wants to have a three-way.
Yeah.
That's his bottom line. And it ultimately happened. We get there, you know? And it's like, great, we're finally having our three-way, you know? And again, this heterosexual movie, quote unquote, that we get at the beginning, and me not having that reference of his other movies, and just being 17 and just like, holy shit, this movie is amazing. This is everything that I needed.
It was an interesting choice that they reference her doing Crystal a couple of times, which was also something me and my friends were partaking in at the time. You know, but they never actually do it on screen.
Right. Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
I was like, and like, you know, they just reference it because she's like not eating, you know, as much or like they are or whatever. And I was like, trying to figure out what was the choice behind that, but maybe it's not even that big of a deal.
Yeah. And they probably just didn't have time for it either. But
90s teens and crystal meth.
I'm telling you. And listening to industrial music.
Right.
Because they started out like at the very beginning at the club where you know, he says something about I'm hungry or whatever. And she says like,
where do you think that drive-in?
Oh, I know. There's the drive-in too.
Do you think it's like the City of Industry drive-in? It could be.
Probably.
It's not the Santa Fe Springs.
I was just going to say the Santa Fe Springs swap meet.
Because that has like a big thing on it.
Yeah.
I didn't see a train go by.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Could be the same swap meet or the same drive-in from Never Been Kissed.
Oh, the one that's in like Rosemead.
That's like a movie location, like spot.
I forget what street that is in Rosemead, but you always drive by it.
Rosemead.
Yeah. I think it's on Rosemead Boulevard? I don't know.
Yeah.
I ended up meeting Rose McGowan.
Oh, wow.
At,
How did that go?
It was actually really great.
Cool.
There was a club at 796 Peanuts that wasn't Velvet and it wasn't cinematic. They did it shortly, and it was like in the vein of like Makeup.
Okay.
Remember Club Makeup?
Yeah, I remember Makeup.
I don't remember what the club was called, and we were there, and I noticed her tattoo on her back, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's Rose McGowan!" But she had a wig on.
Okay.
And so I was on the dance floor, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And so then I went up to her, and I was like, "Hey, like blah blah blah," and I talked to her, and I had a zine at the time, and I was like, "Can I interview you for my zine?" And she said, "Sure, hold on." And she's like, "Come with me." And I walked with her to the booth, and her friends were there, and she got her purse, and she gave me her manager's business card. And she's like, "Call him, and he'll set it up." And I was like, "Okay." And I thought, like, "Okay, no way." And then I did, and I actually interviewed her.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was really
cool.
crazy. And she was shooting Ready to Rumble at the time.
Ready to Rumble with David Arquette.
Yeah.
and,
Remember
is
that.
it Scott Conn?
I don't know.
Yeah, but...
Is that how David Arquette got into wrestling?
I think
Yes,
so.
yes.
Yep.
Have you watched the David Arquette documentary?
No, I
No,
want
but I've
to,
heard about it, though.
You
Yeah.
should.
The trailer looks great.
Yeah,
Is it Scott?
That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
I love that.
You're kind of bringing me back that I had a random retail run-in with Rose McGowan when I worked at the Huntington. She came in to the Huntington when they were still in their old gift shop location, and I was at the register, and she came in, and I was like, holy shit. Tatum from Scream just walked in. And my manager at the time was just like, that is not Rose McGowan. I'm like, bitch, that is Rose McGowan. And then I helped her out.
That's
Yes.
so
I mean, she was
crazy.
pleasant enough and just like a basic retail interaction. Mhm.
Yeah.
Was she already on Charmed when you?
I don't remember
Probably
because I
not.
didn't watch Charm.
Yeah.
I'm one of the gays who did not watch
I didn't
Charm.
watch it either.
I tried to watch it when it was on Hulu recently or wherever it was. And I think I got through like 5 episodes, and I was like, "Do I really care to invest my time into this?"
I watched the pilot of it when it first came out.
I did too.
And I did not watch anything
You
else.
know what? You know what turned me off when I watched the pilot?
Shannon Doherty.
Well, no. They used the cover
Oh,
of How Soon
yes.
Is Now in the credits, and I was
love
like,
Spit Love.
"But yeah," and I was like, "What the hell?" Because
The Craft.
the Craft had just come out.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
"This is get out of here."
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's a whole story with Charmed with Andrew Fleming is that they were developing.
Was it going to be a Craft?
They were
TV
developing
show?
a Craft TV show with Andrew Fleming, who directed The Craft, and it just didn't go anywhere. And then all of a sudden, Charmed show up. Charmed showed up.
Sure.
I forgot that there was a Craft remake.
Yeah, we saw it.
It is the sequel.
It is a sequel.
It is a
Yeah,
sequel.
sorry.
Veruza Balk makes a brief cameo at
Sorry,
the end.
yes.
I just IMDb'd Ready to Rumble. The other guy is Scott Conn.
Okay.
So a
Conn.
little connection to nowhere there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we talked very, very briefly. You talked about being Rudy Bleu and
Yes.
Amy in this movie. I think they actually mention in the FBI scene that her
Amy
name is
Bleu.
Amy Bleu.
Yeah.
But they don't really mention it otherwise, and I feel like I only found out
During the
once-
credits.
during the credits that Jordan's last name is White and Xavier's last name is Red.
Yeah. Red, white, and blue.
Yeah, I was going to say there's kind of that American theme throughout the whole movie. I mean, especially at the ending.
Yeah.
That record store scene, when she's looking at the This Mortal Coil album, like, is so dramatic.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it,
She just wants to crawl in there. And
yes. It's like, even myself as a teen was like, okay, like, this is like, come on now. Like, how old is she? 12? You
yeah,
know, like,
yeah. And I love that just too, Jordan just not getting it. He's just like,
Yeah.
don't you have that at home? She's like, that's not the point.
I don't remember them like stuffing tapes into their pants or whatever.
Yeah.
When I watched it this time, I was like, I don't ever remember that scene like that. You know, like I remember the little thought bubbles on each side of them, but I didn't remember the tape stealing.
The shoplifting.
Yeah.
We also LOL'd in real life at the morning. It was one of the morning scenes. And she is in a Quickie Mart. And I think it's a Perry Farrell scene where she's getting
Yeah.
she's making coffee.
She's loading up her tray.
And she does like 3 sweet and lows
Uh-huh.
at one time. like and all this cream, and then she starts loading the tray and just putting more and more shit on there.
Like she's in like a cafeteria line.
And she's putting in those like peppy like pills that you get at like 7-Eleven.
Oh my god, yeah.
Those like caffeine pills. She had that come in like little pouches that you tear the pouch.
Right.
And they have like 2 pills. And like, yeah, we used to always joke around about getting the peppy pills at like 7-Eleven.
So that scene also right after that is when he asks him to smell his fingers. Is that correct? Right. And then she jumps over. It always bothered me that like when that tray that she has flips over, like nothing really like
right.
Nachos, like all this shit in there.
Hot coffee.
Yeah.
That nacho cheese and how it looks.
It's orange.
Orange.
I thought it was probably. I was like, oh, it's probably just paint. They're probably just trying to make it look crazy because, you know, gas station nachos are gross.
Yeah.
But they both eat it.
Yeah.
She eats it and X eats it with the paint on it. So I'm like, it can't be paint.
Probably been sitting there for hours.
Yeah.
The scene, it's probably cold nacho cheese.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
The scene in the beginning when at the first convenience store when they chop the guy's head off.
Yeah.
And he like vomits or whatever. I always
guacamole.
Yes.
Yeah.
It totally.
Well, I'm assuming. Well, he lands in the condiment station for the hot dogs.
Oh,
so I always just assumed he
It was
landed in a pile of guacamole, and it's coming out through his neck.
I mean, it could
out
be,
his mouth.
It's probably relish.
But that's what I took it to be.
And this actor is
That's Dustin Nguyen from 21 Jump Street.
okay. Yeah.
Oh, 21 Jump Street.
He was one of the narc cops on 21 Jump, the original 21 Jump Street with Johnny Depp.
So Margaret Cho in this film, I couldn't remember. I mean, I know that I remember watching All American Girl, but I wasn't like, oh, I love her. You know,
Yeah.
It wasn't until her first comedy special that came out on DVD or VHS,
with like
whatever.
the black leather, like
the
suit.
yellow. No, the yellow cover with the like red, pinkish, maroonish outfit.
Okay.
I think it's the one where she talks about like fingering a guy and driving home with her finger, like in the L shape. So I just remember watching her in this film, but I remember being like, oh, cool, but I don't remember like timeline wise. Was it because of the
what came first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, did you watch her stand up and remember? Oh, she's in that scene of Doom Generation.
I was kind of more of a follower of stand-up, so I do remember one of her earlier specials, and I don't know if it was an HBO special or if it was a half-hour comedy hour. I think I made you watch it, where she is wearing the black leather suit. It's like a pantsuit and like and a motorcycle jacket. But I think that one's clean, so it might be Comedy Central or MTV, but that was super early.
Do you have the Notorious?
I have Notorious CHO.
Okay.
I think that was the second one that she released on DVD.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the first one, but yeah, anyway, Margaret Cho. She was also like I would see her at shows all the time.
Oh, yeah.
I saw her at like
LA,
Chibo Mato at the Troubadour.
Oh, wow.
That was she was standing behind me and my friend, and the whole time we're like, oh my God. But we didn't talk to her.
Was Sean Lennon playing
Yes.
at the time? When
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he pretty much just toured with them like forever. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And that was scandalous because that woman was like 15 years older than him. I think the woman that he was seeing in Chibo Mato.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize
I think she
that.
was like in her 40s and he was like 28
Wow.
when they were dating. Yeah.
Young pictures of Pete remind me of Sean Lennon.
It's so weird. I don't look like Sean Lennon, but there are pictures of him.
Pictures of
and
Sean
me
Lennon and Pete
that
look alike. Yeah.
It's crazy. I don't know what it is, because I do not look like this man. But I will show you listeners photographs
You two had that
where we
you
look
two kind
the
of
same.
Had, you two had the same style.
It's weird.
In the 90s,
it's
though.
weird. I don't get it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like for me, Doom Generation really was like one of the first times where I saw like myself and my friends and queerness on screen, where it wasn't like it was just like a thing. And the way that like X's character is like open to like his fluidity or whatever.
Yeah.
And even though nothing explicitly queer happens, I still, for me, was just like, whoa, you know, because Totally Fucked Up is so like sad.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it was like me and my friends. I watched that recently it does not have the same effect as it did when I was like 16, 17. I thought it was the best movie in the world, and I was like, yes, I'm so depressed, and this is like me, you know. But Doom Generation was just like fun, you know. And it was, I think, I don't want to say it was lighthearted, but maybe at the time I thought it was like lighthearted because I was into, you know, all the like dark and, you know, watching Nine Inch Nails unedited videos, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I also think it's just that tone that Gregg Araki has, that like it's that nihilist tone that we're all going to hell in a handbasket, but you better enjoy the ride.
Yeah, totally. I think that. Yeah, and you know, it's funny because when I had made people watch the film, either they loved it or hated it.
Yeah.
There's like no in between. It was just like, I don't get it, or like that was like fucked up, like the ending sucks, blah blah blah. And it was the same with like Nowhere, you know. It was just like, this is stupid, you know, like. But
because the dialogue's so crazy, it's so elevated.
I did read Roger Ebert's 0-star review of this movie, which is pretty funny. Famously gave the movie 0 stars and wrote, note carefully that I do not object to the content of the movie, but its attitude.
Its attitude.
Its attitude. Mm-hmm.
And does he mean Rose McGowan?
Yeah.
Because that's what I loved about the film so much too, was like her attitude and like the way she carried herself, and she just did not give a fuck, and like she's had that like Valley Girl, like LA girl accent, you know. That little baby doll dress thing that she's wearing in that scene where she comes out of the Quickie Mart where she jumps over and her like, butt cheeks are hanging out. Like I was
black
like
panties.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my, it just looked like every girl I hung out with.
Yeah.
Except they were brown and chubbier. You know, like,
absolutely. They may have tried to pull off the black bob wig.
Yeah, they had the Betty Page bangs, you know.
The DVD that we watched, I mean, God bless it, it's on DVD. Quality, not great.
Yeah.
But even still, you could tell like we're watching this movie, and like you could even kind of see like the faint, her like really like light roots.
Yeah, because he had her dye her hair,
how
right?
How dark her hair was dyed.
Yeah.
But her hair is dyed, and it's like dark brown, and there's some little like lighter kind of highlights in it. James Duval's hair is black.
Yeah.
It is
it's
dyed
like a Keanu Reeves black.
It's just like black hair dye from a box, just completely.
Have you seen him lately?
I follow him on Instagram.
Yeah, he's handsome.
Yeah.
I saw he
still get it.
He he just was in some film, and I do a radio show, and he did a interview on another radio show at the same station, and I was like, "What the hell? How did I not know this was happening?"
Kind of wild. The movie that James got in '96. I mean, both him and Jonathan Schaech like went on to make huge movies the year after this came out, but Jonathan Schaech
three of them did.
Went on to. I mean, all three of them. So interesting that they sort of broke out into Hollywood after this movie.
Yeah.
Jonathan Schaech got That Thing You Do with Tom Hanks. James Duval got Independence Day and Rose Scream.
Right. It always made me sad that James Duval's career didn't and it also made me feel some type of way that he wasn't in Nowhere.
Wait, James Duval or Jonathan Schaech?
James Duval.
James Duval's in
Oh
Nowhere.
yeah, he's sorry.
I was
He's
gonna
the
be
lead.
like,
yeah, no. What's the one? He's not in Splendor, right?
No, he's not in Splendor.
Which Jonathan Schaech is in Splendor, right?
If he is, he's in. Oh no, I'm thinking of the weed one. I'm thinking of the Anna Faris weed one. He's like a weed dealer, but that's like a whole other one.
Yeah,
I have not seen Smiley Face. Is it worth checking out?
I mean, it's not a Greg. I mean, it is directed by Gregg Araki, but
it doesn't feel like a Gregg Araki
No.
movie.
He didn't write it.
Jeremy Jordan. He is kind of the main lead in Nowhere.
I was going to say in Threesome.
No, he's not. He's not the lead. He plays Bart. He's Guillermo Diaz's boyfriend.
Guillermo Diaz.
We love Guillermo Diaz.
I love Guillermo Diaz.
Pete went up to Guillermo.
I met him at the Offbeat.
The Offbeat.
I met him at.
They were there for their drag
the Offbeat in
night.
Highland Park.
I interviewed him for my zine back in the day as well.
Awesome.
But I had never met him until recently at Precinct.
Okay.
And I went up to him and I was like, "You really don't remember this, but like 20 years ago, like
Yeah."
And then he was like, "Oh, cool," and I was just like, "Okay, nice seeing you. Bye."
I went up to him at the Offbeat and I was just like, "Dude, Nowhere is fucking amazing." Like, yes, of course, I love what's the Dave Chappelle, the weed one?
Yeah, Half Baked.
Like, yeah, I love Half Baked. Yeah, weeds is fine. But I was like, Nowhere, man, Party Girl. These movies shaped my
Sisyphus.
Yeah,
that's
telling
where
me
he
your name
knows
is Syphilis.
I mean, I'm sure that when he hears both Nowhere and Party Girl, he knows that
he knows the kind of person
he knows. He knows that you're the real.
Yeah.
Did you ever
you're the real deal.
Watch Stonewall with
that
him in it?
Movie? No,
not the recent Stonewall.
Okay.
There's a Stonewall that was made in the late 90s.
Oh, okay.
And he's the main character.
Oh.
He plays a trans woman.
What?
And it's now. I mean, we didn't need to plug people, but it's streaming on Amazon.
Okay.
If you guys want to watch it.
Interesting.
I did not know that they did like a dramatic pass at Stonewall.
Yeah, it's
just from like the late 90s.
Yeah, and it was released through Strand Releasing, who releases like a lot of the
game
but he plays like a drag queen who is like having thoughts of transitioning, you know. But it's the music in it is amazing.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I loved, like, I would rent everything that Guillermo Diaz was in.
Yeah.
You know? Like, he was in so many, like, indie gay films, and he wasn't out at the time.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like, I remember when I interviewed him, we talked a lot about freestyle music.
I love it.
And an interview where he had a Malojo pendant, and he was talking about Malojo in this interview, and so then I was like, I remember watching you talk about this.
He's Puerto Rican?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Willie Lopez, he's Puerto Rican.
He's Puerto Rican.
I mean, Gregg Araki has such a great. I mean, I can't remember who the casting directors are, but
I mean, especially when you look at a movie like Nowhere, where it's like future famous person after future famous person.
Yeah.
It's like Heather Graham, Ryan Phillippe, Mina Savari, just like one after another.
But then also former famous.
I was just going to say
famous people,
and then like the pop culture references, you know, like all the like
he got Charlotte Ray
on the boardwalk telling their fortune as isn't it Heather Graham and Ryan Phillippe making out?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte Ray. I totally forgot. Yes.
And I think that's what
Beverly D'Angelo's Dark's mom.
And I think that's what something like what I remember about Kaboom.
Yeah.
Or even Now Apocalypse is that it didn't really have casting choices like that.
Right.
In them.
Yeah.
Wasn't that Now Apocalypse that was like
it was like the Stars
TV show
television sequel.
We started it, but we
Nowhere.
didn't finish it.
Yeah.
I always wanted to. There's also like the original, like he did like a MTV pilot.
Oh, okay.
And I believe it's on YouTube. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh,
and I remember trying to watch it back in the day, but then I never finished it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've talked about how hard these movies are to find.
Yes.
So if you haven't seen,
I mean,
Doom Generation,
I mean, some studio like Shout Factory or Arrow. I mean, you would think that some cool gay punk that like works for those can like pull some strings and get.
They should do like a box set.
That would be amazing. I'd buy it. I mean, I would straight up just buy it. We talk about our kind of local video store that's freestanding, that's in South Pasadena.
Videotech, not a sponsor yet. They do give me discounts when I go in, though.
And they straight up called the person who was 12 days late with their one copy of Doom Generation.
They have a Gregg Araki section, and Doom Generation and Nowhere we're missing.
Nowhere ever make it to DVD?
Somebody sent us a link once.
I think that there is a transfer from the UK.
The UK,
that they did.
I have like a burned copy from like the UK version that one of my ex-boyfriends gave me as like a gift once, and you know, and he decorated the whole thing. It's really cute, whatever. But I still have my VHS copy of Nowhere as well.
We rented that copy from Videotech
The VHS.
The VHS, because if it's out of print and not on DVD, Videotech, if they have it available, will have the VHS there. Mm-hmm. That's how I first watched Nowhere, and then we bought it on eBay a few years ago.
Because I've always wanted stupidly left my VHS just in a move. I was just like, I don't need all these tapes.
I've always wanted. I mean, I've done that with a lot of tapes, but Nowhere is one of them I didn't give up. But I've always wanted like a Nowhere poster, and there's like some really cool foreign ones. And I have a friend who has one, and every so often it'll appear in his like Instagram pictures in the background, and I'm like, I hate you.
If you ever get rid of that poster,
the Doom Generation poster is really great as well. But
the Doom Generation poster has I mean, it's red, white, and blue. Too.
Yeah. So I remember looking up this movie on Yahoo, and the poster really like standing out.
Yeah. There's the red, white, and blue one, and then there's the all red one where she's like prominent on the front.
I definitely remember the all red one.
Yeah. That trailer. No, okay. It's different. The trailer.
Oh, when she's punching. Yeah.
The trailer for this film, though, I know you played the audio earlier. Mm-hmm. I also watched the trailer recently, and I was like, I don't think that I would have been so excited to see this movie.
I mean, I'm sure this was a very interesting movie for them to market.
Yeah.
And how are you going to pull in your audience when putting this on like VHS tapes of like Rent Nowhere?
Yeah. I mean, and shout out to the Sunset 5.
Oh, the Sunset 5. I mean, it's still around. Do you know that the Sunset 5 was, I think, the first movie theater I went to in Los Angeles?
Well, but is it a Sundance?
It's an AMC.
It's an AMC now. But it was a Sundance theater,
right?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I saw. I mean, that was my first introduction to Los Angeles and going to the movies. Was walking over to the Sunset 5.
I used to go to the Sunset 5 and then go into Virgin Megastore and spend so much time in there trying to decide what I was going to spend my money on.
Now, is the Virgin Megastore now the CVS or the TJ's?
No. It's neither. It's where the Starbucks is, and it's that whole side.
Oh. It was huge. It was
big.
2 stories, and you would always see random celebrities there.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Oh, I saw Anthony Kiedis there, and I saw Teller from Penn and Teller.
I saw Tracy Ellis Ross there. Ooh. I saw, what's his name?
I saw Heather from Paranormal Activity there.
She was
at our screening of The Room.
I saw Chris Pontius there
in the Virgin Megastore. That's where you would see.
Yeah, in the Virgin Megastore. I saw Chris Pontius there, and I was like, "Oh my!"
I remember. Oh, yeah.
He's fine. Yeah, we've seen him in person, and we were like, "Okay."
We've seen a new Jackass movie.
Are you wearing a jockstrap under that?
We did see Chris out.
Yeah, we've seen him in the wild.
In the wild.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go to a lot of in-stores at the Virgin Megastore?
Yes.
I mean, come on, that's where they were.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Echo Belly at the Virgin Megastore and Sleeper.
Love it.
I think Morrissey did a signing there, if I don't remember. But yeah, Sunset 5, I mean,
it was the shit.
Beautiful Thing I saw there.
Oh, okay. Wow. I have that on VHS.
That movie made me a Mama Cass fan.
Yeah.
I knew, Mamas and Papas stuff, but Mama Cass, like that film, I love that movie.
It's
so
great.
much.
It's great. I mean, and that's the thing. All the kids that are out there, we loved Heartstopper.
Oh yeah,
on Netflix. We loved Heartstopper, but I was like,
it's coming for Beautiful Things big.
Kind of.
No, totally. I watched Heartstopper, and I've told a few people to watch it. I'm like, this is definitely not catered to us, but it's adorable.
It's for young gay kids to watch with their mom.
But you know what?
Yeah.
Young gay kids can watch TV now with their mom, and we had to watch fucking Rose McGowan call someone a life support system for a cock.
Yes.
You definitely don't want to watch Doom Generation with your mom.
No. I watched Single White Female with my mom. Late at night, I was watching Single White Female, and my mom came into my bedroom, like in high school, and she's like,
"What you watching?"
My Mexican mom, who barely speaks English, and she's like, "What are you watching?" And then I was like, "Oh, this movie," and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna sit down for a bit," and so she sits down and watching it, and all of a sudden, she starts masturbating, and I'm like, "Great."
Woo. Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Yeah, not yet.
Oh, I thought you meant your mom.
That movie gets crazy. You see Steven Weber's ass. I think you kind of see part of his dick at one point. Like,
I haven't watched it in years, and
Wild.
For years would always reference like friends' relationships would be like, oh, he's getting all single white female on you, or like, you know, like
totally. Oh my god, yeah. But that's the thing. It's like I love that there is so much more accessibility for kids now. But like when this movie came out and I was 16 or 17 and I saw it on Cinemax and I was just like, I was lucky enough to have like a TV and a VCR in my room, so I was like, I'm going to tape it, and I watched the shit out of it because it was like there wasn't anything else out there that had this overt like of queerness to it. You know?
would tape everything off the TV, and I have so many VHS tapes that I have, and I like so many award shows, so many MTV specials, so many interviews with musicians, artists, and I've been going through them. I'm going to do a quick plug here because I'm doing a monthly series at Whammy Analog in Echo Park.
You told me about this. Yeah,
it's a VHS store.
Love it.
And they have tons of VHS stuff, and they do screenings. They have a micro cinema, and but anyway, so I started this monthly screening series, and I am showing films. Like this Sunday, I'm showing Times Square.
Love Times Square. Times Square just came out on Blu-ray too.
Oh, cool!
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna show Times Square this month, and then eventually we're gonna start showing stuff from my archive. Like I'm gonna invite people to come, and I want to invite y'all to come.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And just like watch stuff and like talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, like just like fun, crazy things. Like I want to do like a day where we just watch different like coming out episodes from television.
Yeah.
You know, like that I have recorded. I have Dawson's Creek.
Oh man.
You know,
I love it.
I was just like, anything gay, I'm going to record it.
The gay episodes of Roseanne were always really fun.
Oh my God. Yes. Yes.
When Leon got married on
When
Roseanne,
Leon got married and she
drag queens.
She throws like the bachelor party. Is it the bachelor party or the wedding?
The wedding.
The wedding. Yeah.
That's full of drag queens. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. Where was I going? Oh yeah, so like going back also through those tapes, I found a video where me and my friend are giving a tour of Los Angeles to one of my pen pals.
Oh my God.
And it's so weird. It's like us driving around LA in the late 90s.
Wow.
I haven't watched the whole thing. I've like fast forwarded through it and like
that's amazing.
But I'm like, okay, I need to sit here and watch this. It's so insane.
Do you go down Melrose?
We go down Melrose. We go down Santa Monica.
I love it.
We go down Sunset.
There's so many things.
Like Silver Lake.
There's so many things when I drive Scott around town, and I'm like, and that Starbucks used to be the hamburger that ate LA. You can kind of tell that it looked like City Hall, and it used to be a hamburger.
Do you remember the Crest Cafe in Silver Lake? It was where that Taps place is.
Oh, yeah.
It was like this old diner, and it was mostly like old folks who hung out there. And this was when Silver Lake was full of like arty, punky people and queer people and all the Latino families that lived there.
And there was this
and it was this like little diner, and me and my friends would just hang out there because we wanted to like people watch and walk around, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I spent many a times in diners. I used to hang out at Caro's in South Pasadena, like at midnight.
And you know that Caro's was in Terminator.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's where Sarah Connor works at in Terminator.
The first Terminator.
Whoa!
Yeah, there's kind of a cool shot of when
they put a fake like Bob's Big Boy guy out.
Yeah, there's kind of a cool shot of Linda Hamilton on her little scooter going down that, like, what is that cross street?
Is it Mission and Fremont?
I think it's Fremont.
She's driving down Fremont, and you can see like what the street looked like in the early 80s.
I love that shit. Yep. Like I just love like what this city used to look like, you know, because it's so different now. Especially like
I mean,
Silver Lake, Hollywood.
It's different now, and I've only lived here over like 10 years.
Yeah,
Hollywood looks completely different now.
You know, they filmed Halloween.
Oh yes, of course.
You know, where near Videotech.
Videotech.
Yeah. I was going to call it Video Active. I worked at Video Active, which was the Silver Lake video rental place that I worked at. But yeah, my so-called Lifehouse is here, right by Videotech as well.
Oh man,
we haven't seen my so-called Lifehouse.
Yeah,
shoot, we'll have to look that one up.
The Pretty in Pink house is just around the corner.
Yes,
too.
And then
behind Videotech.
Yeah,
Marshall High School is used so much. Like I took me forever to realize that was the Pretty in Pink High School, the opening shots and stuff.
John Marshall,
yeah, but Pretty in Pink, actually my favorite movie ever. I don't know.
Shout out to our
sentimental.
Shout out to our Pretty in Pink episode.
We did a combo, Pretty in Pink / Some Kind of Wonderful.
I never was really a fan of Some Kind of Wonderful.
Same.
Pretty in Pink holds up a little more.
Pretty Pink.
Yeah.
It's definitely better. But I mean, listeners, when you come out to LA, we'll definitely give you a tour, not a walking tour, but a tour of our favorite hotspots. Mm-hmm. But you can't, none of which you can see in the Doom Generation.
Yeah, I was going to say just how Doom Generation is filmed. You have no idea where they shot this
the
movie.
Royal Tenenbaums of Los Angeles.
Do you know what he's eating when he goes to get those like shrimp cakes or what?
Yeah, he says like shrimp balls or something.
Yeah.
I think it's like that beer battered kind of like shrimp, like Johnny Shrimp Boat kind of a
Johnny
thing.
Shrimp Boat.
Yeah.
Sorry, Scott's looking at us like, what?
I'm thinking kind of like that.
Johnny Shrimp Boat is like in Boyle Heights, and I think there's another one, and it's like
there's two. Yeah.
like a big fried shrimp with
like
gravy.
a poof.
Yeah.
I mean, I like fried shrimp.
You
Are they
love
still
it.
around?
And they're still around. And it's a Foster's Freeze.
Oh yes.
So you get a soft serve right to that
And
yellow soft serve
I've
right
never
next to
been
it.
to a Foster's Freeze.
So good.
Oh my god. Yeah,
good.
Today when I was watching Doom Generation, and he was eating those because they look like cheese curds,
Yeah.
like, and I was like, "What?" He said shrimp.
It's
What?
like shrimp puff or something.
And I was going back to the Diet Coke extra large. I was a extra large regular Coke girl. I haven't had soda in like 15 years.
Oh wow!
But I would go through drive-thrus just to get a extra large or the super size, and then and Jack in the Box it was called something else.
Yeah.
Thirst quencher. I don't know what. And it was like this obscene,
Yeah,
huge.
like was the soda made by a movie prop department?
And then Super Size Me came out and ruined it for all of us. Took away our extra large sodas at the drive-thru.
Yes, I never liked 7-Eleven Coke. I thought that it tasted like plastic.
You know why? Because 7-Eleven employees don't clean the fountain.
They don't keep up their fountain.
Tastes like mold.
There you go.
Yeah. Our 7-Eleven. After a while, I was like, nope, no more big gulps.
That's why they were murdered in Doom Generation.
Seriously. Yeah, so it's like we always tell people, like, go rent this movie. Watch it on iTunes.
They're hard to find. I mean, I'm going to try to have a friend maybe find a stream of this. So
Hook
if
up
anybody messages us wanting to see this movie, I can maybe find them a link.
And if our FBI agents are listening, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. We're not talking about pirating anything. Yeah, if you still have Kazaa on your laptop.
I was just talking about Kazaa the other day.
Yeah, LimeWire.
LimeWire.
Yeah, we'll try to hook you
Napster.
up with a stream of this movie. I mean, what's so interesting about a movie like Doom Generation is that you really can't compare any of Gregg Araki movies to stuff that's made today. Like movies about young people like this do not exist.
No.
Like this has no business being made.
Yeah.
In like 2022 now.
Yeah, it's like too subversive.
And also, Gregg Araki soundtracks, because they were also all released on, CD. That whole like 90s wave of soundtracks being like a thing, like his soundtracks were always the ones that introduced you to stuff if you didn't already know, and the other soundtracks were all using these current bands. There was always a cover of something, but I feel like these days, like, soundtracks don't play the same part as they used to,
Not at all.
They're not really a way to market your movie and put them in like a Tower Records or Sam Goody or anything.
Yeah, no. And I remember like in the 90s and late 90s, early 2000s, like buying soundtracks all the time, the Trainspotting soundtrack or, and I feel like the Nowhere soundtrack and the Doom Generation soundtrack on CDs are also kind of hard to find these days.
Totally.
Yeah.
So
like that music was probably not even properly cleared for those soundtracks. So it's like
Is the Nowhere soundtrack we have in the car? Did we buy that at Amoeba or is that mine?
I bought that at Amoeba.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
movie
I must have lost
soundtracks
mine.
is really big in the vinyl community now. Whenever I go to Amoeba, their movie section, there's always a lot of people there.
Yeah.
And they always have reissues.
I was
of
just going to say
old
they're
movie soundtracks.
reissuing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Random movie nerd thing is that American Graffiti is what really got the movie soundtrack thing, using like
yeah, that makes sense.
music,
Popular
like
music,
yeah.
yeah.
and versus just scores and stuff.
Okay.
I read that a long time ago, and I was like, oh yeah.
And then I think the next really big one was The Big Chill.
Oh yes,
That was a soundtrack that
everyone had. Yeah.
Everybody's
on
parents
vinyl.
had the Big Chill soundtrack because it's a best of. You know, it's a best of that that time period. And
I would imagine
much
that
like
no, totally.
Graffiti was. Yeah,
I would imagine that another movie soundtrack from the 80s that did something similar was Fast Times.
Fast Times and Pretty in Pink.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then we had Forrest Gump. The double disc.
That was a double disc soundtrack. As
The budget for the music clearance of that movie probably could fund a $10 million movie.
I always think about these things now because I've spent time working in television, and I always think about this stuff, and especially like when I watch films, I'm like, oh my god, like the budget for whatever, or like when I watch Drag Race and people are like, oh my god, RuPaul, and I'm like, girl, she's paying herself.
Yeah.
I mean, bless it.
Hello.
If you can work it into the show.
Yeah. Like if you can get 3 of your songs
that
in the
check,
episode.
I guess. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
But yes.
But yeah, I mean, it's these movies were kind of like I don't know. There's just a little weird pocket of shit that doesn't get made anymore. Soundtracks like that.
It's definitely a vibe of the mid 90s that is really fun to revisit.
Yeah. I'm glad that they exist. And whatever, kids these days get everything for free on the internet.
Yeah, seriously.
And in the 90s we had to write for catalogs of things and order things with the chance that we might not even like it. So they'll struggle a little. They're all great at finding things on the internet.
That's true.
You don't have to be in debt to like Columbia
House Record Club.
Columbia House Record Club.
If you're of the age of myself, in your 40s, just ask one of your nephews or younger siblings to help you find it.
They'll find it for you.
They find everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we definitely recommend watching this. The quotes alone, I mean, we can just like do a screenshot of the quote section on IMDb, and it's like ridiculous. But the soundtrack is amazing. The movie's great.
Rudy, thank you so much for coming on. And this is a very special episode. Not only that it's 150, but this is the last episode we're recording in our old apartment.
Yeah.
We started this show in this apartment,
movies
in
that made
this
us get
very
headquarters.
couch. And we're going to be doing the episodes from now on in our new apartment.
Yes.
End of an era.
And East Hollywood will come to you every week. But Rudy, you talked a little bit about some stuff that you've got coming on. Why don't you give us another plug?
Oh yeah. So I have a
monthly
monthly screening series at Whammy in Echo Park, and they're at Whammy Analog Media on Instagram, and they have their calendar up. And my screenings are either $8 or free, depending on what we're showing. And this will air after Times Square. So next month, for Pride Month, I'm gonna bring it really down and screen Silver Lake Life: The View from Here.
I've heard about Silver Lake Life, and I never have seen it.
It's a downer, but I feel like the children need to see our forefathers, and it happens to be on Father's Day as well. So I thought it was a interesting choice for Pride. But so we're gonna screen Silver Lake Life: The View from Here next month, and the screening series is usually the last Sunday of every month. But next month we're moving it because I have a commitment that I have a gig somewhere else.
Okay.
But and I'm on Instagram, but my personal Instagram's like private.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I also do a Instagram called My So-Called Queer Life, and it's kind of like an archive of flyers and newspaper clippings, magazine clippings, buttons, all like stuff from the 90s and early 2000s. So you can peruse stuff there.
We'll link it in the post.
Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much again for coming on the show. We'd love to have you on again in the future at our new Movies That Made Us Gay headquarters.
Thank y'all, and happy 150th.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. But until next time, it is time to bid you adieu. Bye, friends.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Another fun episode.
Thanks so much.
Yes, we have been waiting to do some Gregg Araki movies. I've been super excited and kind of sitting on Doom Generation, so I'm glad we finally got around to doing this.
And some good news, we are doing Nowhere next week.
Yes, absolutely. We will be recording Nowhere, the next movie in the Gregg Araki kind of franchise, the third movie in his Teenage Apocalypse trilogy. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. But until then, I think right about now, it's about that time.
Patreon shout-out?
Absolutely. We would love to say hello to our wonderful patrons, Ted, Benny, Jermel, Melanie, Christopher, Susan, JJ, Leighton, Shelby, Michael, Charlie, Muffy, Paul, Jamie, Drew, Jimmy, Genevieve, Dawn, Joshua, Emily, Aaron, Melinda, Jim, Jessica, Nick and Shannon, Christine, and Rufino.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for being patrons. Head over to patreon.com/movies that made us gay for some awesome additional content.
And yeah, you can also give us a review.
Yes, indeed. We'd love it if you would rate and review the show. Head over to Apple Podcasts. If you're an Apple Podcast listener or a Spotify listener, you can give us 5 stars. And if you're an Apple Podcast listener, write us a review.
And we would be happy to read it on the air.
Absolutely. We love to read those great reviews on the air. So please leave us another one of those. You can follow us on any social media platform you like. We are at Movies That Made Us Gay on Instagram and Facebook.
And Twitter at MTMUGPod.
Indeed, and you can follow our personal accounts as well if you like. I am Pete, and I am at Peter Lasagna on Instagram and Twitter.
I'm Scott Youngballer on Instagram, and follow my letterbox.
Alrighty, until next week, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.